The Boeing 777 touches down at Ninoy Aquino International Airport on a sweltering August afternoon in 2024. Three siblings emerge from the arrival gate, their designer luggage and tailored clothes drawing stares from other passengers. Miguel Santos, 52, the eldest, carries himself with the confidence of a man who conquered Dubai's construction industry. His custom-fitted suit costs more than what his entire family used to earn in a year, back in their small barrio in Bulacan. Beside him walks Rosa, 48, her Hermes bag swinging gently as she scans the crowd. She left Manila 23 years ago as a domestic helper in Singapore, scrubbing floors and changing diapers for wealthy families. Today, she manages 3 nursing homes across Southeast Asia. The twins, Carlo and Carmen, both 45, exchange knowing glances as they navigate through the terminal. They started as factory workers in Taiwan, sharing a cramped dormitory with 8 other Filipinos. Now they own a thriving electronics manufacturing business with facilities in 3 countries. 20 years. 2 decades since they'd all been together in the Philippines. 2 decades since they'd made a pact to leave, to sacrifice, to build wealth abroad so their mother would never have to struggle again. The plan had been simple. Each sibling would send money home every month. Miguel had done the math once during a sleepless night in Dubai. Over 15 million pesos collectively, more than enough to build a mansion, hire help, give their mother the comfortable retirement she deserved after raising 4 children alone following their father's death. Their mother, Lord Santos, was 72 now. They'd arranged the surprise return, coordinating across time zones, keeping their plans secret. They wanted to see the joy on her face when all 4 of her children walked through the door of what they imagined would be a beautiful home. The convoy of rented luxury vehicles winds through Manila's congested streets. Miguel sits in the lead car, his mind replaying memories. He'd sent an extra 200,000 pesos just last year specifically for home renovations. Rosa had contributed to a new kitchen. The twins had pooled money for a generator and solar panels. As the cars turn into their old barangay, something feels wrong. The streets are narrower than Miguel remembers, more crowded with makeshift structures. He tells himself it's just his perspective. After living in Dubai's planned communities, everything looks different. But then the vehicles slow down. They stop in front of a structure that makes Miguel's heart drop into his stomach. A barong, a shanty made of rusted corrugated metal sheets, weathered plywood, and faded tarpaulin. The roof sags in the middle, held up by bamboo poles. The walls are a patchwork of scavenged materials. A single bare light bulb is visible through a gap in the makeshift door. Rosa's hand flies to her mouth. Carmen grabs Carlo's arm, her manicured nails digging into his expensive suit sleeve. Miguel sits frozen, unable to process what he's seeing. This can't be right. The driver must have made a mistake. But then Miguel sees it. His mother's old floral curtain, the same one that hung in their childhood home 30 years ago, now torn and sun-bleached, hanging limply in a small window opening. Next to the door sits the old wooden stool their father had carved before he died. The siblings stumble out of their vehicles, their expensive shoes sinking into the muddy pathway. Neighbors begin to emerge from nearby homes, their eyes widening in recognition. Miguel reaches the door first. His hand trembles as he pushes aside the tattered tarpaulin that serves as an entrance. The interior is smaller than his hotel bathroom in Dubai. A single room, maybe 10 feet by 12 feet. The floor is bare concrete, cracked and uneven. In one corner sits a small charcoal stove. A plastic basin serves as a sink. 3 cardboard boxes stacked against the wall hold what appears to be their mother's entire wardrobe. A thin foam mat on the floor serves as her bed, covered with a worn blanket they recognize from their childhood. And there, sitting on that same wooden stool, hunched over a small pile of clothes she's mending by hand, is Lord Santos. She looks up, and her weathered face transforms with shock and joy. Her hands drop the needle and thread. She tries to stand, but her knees buckle from arthritis. She's thinner than they remember, her clothes hanging loose on her small frame. Her hair is completely white now. Her hands are gnarled and rough from years of work. The children rush to her, designer clothes forgotten as they kneel in the dirt and embrace their mother. Rosa is sobbing uncontrollably. Carmen can't catch her breath. The men try to stay composed, but tears stream down their faces. When the initial wave of emotion subsides, Miguel finally asked the question burning in all their minds. The money. The 15 million pesos they'd sent over 20 years. Where did it go? Lourdes' eyes fill with tears, but they're tears of pride, not shame. She reaches for a worn notebook tucked beneath her thin pillow. Its pages are filled with meticulous handwriting. Dates, amounts, names. Every single peso accounted for. Miguel's hands shake as he reads. The notebook tells a story his mother never shared in their brief monthly phone calls. March 2005, 180,000 pesos. Cousin Maria's cancer treatment. She couldn't afford chemotherapy. Without it, the doctor said she had 3 months to live. The money saved her life. Maria survived and is now healthy, raising her 3 children. September 2008, 320,000 pesos. Typhoon relief in their province. Entire villages destroyed. Families with nothing. Lords distributed funds, food, materials for rebuilding. 47 families received help. June 2010, 400,000 pesos. 6 neighborhood children sent to college. Bright students from poor families who had no chance of higher education. All 6 graduated. 1 became a teacher, 2 became nurses, 1 an engineer, 1 a social worker, 1 a doctor. April 2020, 380,000 pesos. COVID relief in their barangay. Food packs, medicine, oxygen tanks for families struggling during the pandemic lockdowns. The money kept 32 families alive when they had no income, no food, no hope. The list goes on. Every entry includes a small note in her handwriting. Maria lives. Thank you, God. 47 families have homes again. 6 students graduated, praise be. 32 families survived the pandemic. Rosa's voice breaks as she reads the final entries. Last month's money went to help a pregnant teenager thrown out by her family. The month before, to pay for a neighbor's emergency surgery. Even now at 72, living in this shanty, Lourdes still gives away most of what her children send. The notebook shows another pattern. Small amounts consistently. 5,000 pesos a month to feed street children. 3,000 pesos monthly for medicine for elderly neighbors. 2,000 pesos weekly for the local feeding program. For 20 years, she's kept almost nothing for herself. She takes in laundry, does mending, helps cook for local carinderias to earn just enough for her basic needs. Rice, dried fish, the occasional vegetable, the bare minimum. Miguel looks at his mother, his voice breaking. Why? Why didn't she use the money for herself? Why didn't she build a better house? Buy better food? Get proper medical care for her arthritis? Lourdes smiles, the same gentle smile they remember from childhood. She gestures around the small shanty. She has a roof over her head. She has food to eat. She has her health, mostly. What more does one person need? But cousin Maria would have died without treatment. Those children would have never gone to school. The typhoon victims would have starved. The families during COVID would have perished. She reaches out and touches each of her children's faces, her rough hands gentle. She raised them to share, to help, to think of others. How could she live in luxury while her neighbors suffered? How could she build a mansion while children went hungry? The money wasn't just for her. It was a blessing meant to be shared. Every life saved, every child educated, every family lifted from despair, that was worth more than any comfortable house. Rosa breaks down completely, burying her face in her mother's thin shoulder. Carmen and Carlo hold each other, crying. Miguel, the eldest, the one who prided himself on being strong, sits on the dirt floor and sobs like a child. They'd spent 20 years building wealth, climbing corporate ladders, expanding businesses. They'd measured success in money, in titles, in material achievements. They'd sacrificed time with family, endured loneliness and homesickness, all to send money home. And their mother had shown them what true wealth really meant. A knock on the doorframe interrupts the moment. An elderly woman stands there, tears streaming down her weathered face. It's Maria, the cancer survivor. She's healthy and glowing now, her 3 children standing behind her. She heard the Santos children had returned. She wanted to thank them. Without their money, without Lourdes' generosity, she wouldn't be alive to see her grandchildren. Behind Maria, a young man in a teaching uniform waits. He's one of the 6 students Lourdes sent to college. He teaches at the local elementary school now, and he runs a scholarship program of his own, helping other poor students, paying forward the blessing he received. More people begin gathering, not dozens, but enough to make the point clear. Lives touched, families helped, futures made possible. Each one has a story of how Lord's generosity changed everything for them. Miguel looks around at these people, at these lives changed, at this ripple effect of generosity. His mother didn't build a mansion. She built something far greater. She created a legacy of compassion that would outlive any physical structure. The siblings make a decision that night. They're not going to build their mother a mansion. That's not what she wants. Instead, they'll do something else. 3 months pass. The Santos Community Center now stands where the Barong Barong used to be. Not a mansion for one person, but a facility for the entire neighborhood. A medical clinic offering free basic health care, a library and study center for children, a feeding program, a skills training center, a small apartment for Lourdes, simple and modest, just like she wants it. But more importantly, they established the Lourdes Santos Foundation. The siblings pool their resources, committing ongoing funding for scholarships, medical assistance, disaster relief, and community development across the Philippines. Within a year, they've helped over 1,000 families, sent 200 students to college, provided medical care for 500 people, created livelihood programs that employ hundreds. The siblings realized something profound. For 20 years, they thought they were supporting their mother. In reality, she was teaching them the most important lesson of their lives. Miguel cuts back his work hours in Dubai to help run the foundation. Rosa restructures her businesses to include social enterprises. Carlo and Carmen shift part of their manufacturing to the Philippines, providing jobs in impoverished communities. They all make less money now. They drive less expensive cars. They live in smaller homes, but they're happier than they've ever been. 3 years later, the Santos siblings gather at the community center for Lord's 75th birthday. The celebration fills the streets. Hundreds of people attend. Former street children, now young professionals. Scholarship recipients, now graduates. Families lifted from poverty, now stable and thriving. Lourdes sits in a simple chair, surrounded by her children and grandchildren. Her health is better now. She still lives modestly, still gives away most of what she receives, but she's content. As the evening winds down, Lourdes gathers her 4 children around her. She looks at each of them, these successful, accomplished adults who were once her babies. She tells them she's proud, not because they got rich abroad, not because they built successful careers. She's proud because they learned, they understood, they changed. They came home looking for their mother in a mansion. Instead, they found her in a shanty. But what they really found was so much more valuable. They found purpose. They found meaning. The richest person isn't the one with the most money. It's the one who gives the most love. The most successful life isn't measured in possessions accumulated, but in lives touched. The greatest legacy isn't what you leave for yourself, but what you leave for others. 5 Filipino OFWs went abroad and got rich. They came home expecting to find their mother living in luxury. Instead, they found her in a shack. And in that moment of shock and heartbreak, they discovered something worth far more than all the money they'd ever earned. They discovered that their mother, poor in possessions but rich in spirit, had been wealthy all along. The shanty that shocked them became the foundation of something beautiful. The poverty that devastated them became the catalyst for transformation. The mother they thought needed their help ended up being the one who helped them most of all. And in the end, they realized that the greatest gift wasn't a mansion. It was becoming the kind of people who understood that real wealth has nothing to do with money and everything to do with how much love you share with the world.